Day 19 in the Yosoi year. The emotional aspect in the ankles or feet in Leo. The title is The Ways, or could be The Paths. 22nd August 2020. Me. Yesterday we talked about how all the paths are trodden by the ancestors and come together in me as destiny, who will trace a new destiny. You said that you are the ultimate destiny. What do you mean by that? I am. Basically, that all the paths lead to me, no matter how many there are or how far they are from each other. They will all return to the center, because everyone, in their infinite external search, will one day reach the internal search, and the only answer to all your questions will be, I am. All roads lead to Rome. All paths lead to God. All I lead from the I am. For this reason, I am the ultimate destination. Me. The information of my destinations is in my feet. Why? I am. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. This ancient tradition is not from the Messiah, but something much earlier, in that the students, unlike now, did not receive their priesthood studies or doctrines and doctorates through a diploma, but through the washing of the feet of their teachers, and I think it here means by their teachers. This meant that during their life they had traveled a long road of tests and learnings, and that all of them had been overcome. Therefore, the teacher was preparing to cleanse the feet of everything traveled and lived, so that they could now walk a path of wisdom. In a certain way, it was the path in which the students passed the path of mastery, a symbol of starting a new path, initiation. Me, that is, in the feet lie all the things that we have lived, those that we as individuals have done. I am. As we discussed yesterday, there are two pathways by which you inherit everything that makes you who you are today. One through biology and the other through energy. The path of biology is that of the family tree. Thousands and thousands of fine and distant roots absorb the nutrients that are joined in increasingly thicker roots until they reach the last two that generate the trunk, which is you. And from you arise the branches that will be your children or projects, that which will continue to branch out to the farthest and smallest twigs, where you will find the leaves. The image of the tree shows very well the biological path in which those of the past deliver the nutrients that you will convert into balance to deliver them to your future generations as tools. And these tools will allow those of the future in the leaves to absorb light and return this light to the roots in the form of clarity. The future gives consciousness to the voices of the past, and the past gives tools to the looks of the future. You are the link. Thus, you will understand one thing. Neither the trunk nor the roots, nor the branches are separate beings. They are the same living being that expands in time and space, changing its forms, fulfilling different roles. Having said that, you can understand that your ancestors and descendants are not other people, but are yourself in different expressions. We call this biological past and future lives. Their memories live in you, everything you are and the potentiality of what you will be. Thus, a conflict in your roots is in turn a conflict for the whole tree. Fixing it doesn't remove the root, nor does it free you from your sorrow. Solving the sorrows of the past is functional for the present and the future in a practical way, since it gives you tools to navigate your path. Your information is recorded in the DNA through mechanical, repetitive actions, emotions, intentions that each person performs and feels, and passes as nutrients to the following generations. Everyone, then, lives in you. Me. And the path of energy? I am. That is the one you usually call path of the soul. Soul comes from the Latin word anima, which means to move, that is, an animated object. This is how the concept of the animal kingdom was born, that is, of creatures that move. It is therefore considered that everything that is in motion and that is capable of controlling its own movement is a being with a soul. And the truth is that the movement is produced by a reaction and electrical pulses generated by positive and negative energy. Thus, the soul is actually energy. And the energy is eternal. It transforms and passes from one body to another, to the environment, between dimensions, since the energy is generated by electrons, and they can behave as a particle, as a wave, moving without time and without space. Thus, there is also the other path that crosses your tree, because it is also part of the forest, of the biosphere, of everything that exists, that is, light. The tree is light because it feeds on it. Animals are light because they feed on energy produced by light. Thus, the light lives and crosses all things. The energy changes kingdoms, mineral, vegetable, animal, human. It changes family trees because it crosses all trees of all species equally, and in it, it records the history of each family and group or species. You call this information past and future lives of energy. That is, what everyone usually knows from past lives. But if you look at nature, you will understand that both are symbiotic, because the two paths are your own life. The eternal life that many yearn for so much already exists, but your gaze is so limited to your egocentric existential world that you cannot see it. You are like that cell inside a kidney that believes it is unique in the world and cannot see the kidney, much less understand that it is part of a body, and much less of a world. And the cells die quickly, but their energy is reabsorbed by the system, nourishing new cells that are born day by day as well. That energy, that consciousness, never left, nor was it lost. It was reintegrated in a new form. You are already eternal, but your ego does not see it, because it wants to be. And the ego is the only of all those that exist in the I am. When you understand the truth of your being, the ego ceases to be the eyes with which you judge existence and becomes the tool with which you develop at this stage of it. Me? So, where is your own path, what we call a life mission? I am. A cell, a human, a being, must complete different stages of existence before beginning to fulfill its mission, and then its purpose. Let's understand the steps of your path. First of all, we are going to understand something essential, which is the key to everything you must understand later. Being. There is no purpose. Me. I heard this several times, but it's difficult to assimilate. I am. Humans live a linear life in their minds that takes them from birth to death, and things happen in between. This has designed a psychological path in which you put a starting point and a goal. You call the objective purpose, because purpose gives meaning to everything that happens. Tell me, wouldn't it be horrible to think of a purposeless existence? Why do you do everything you do? Me. Basically, you just destroyed it, so I can see what it feels like. I am. You have a very strong emotional dependency on purpose, not just you, everyone. To reach the purpose in the middle, in that things happen, We set ourselves short-term goals, which we call missions. Our mind, then, designs life in goals, and as long as we fulfill them, a new one begins. That is, we start on a new path of life, but with a new mission. Being born is the first goal or mission, then walking, then talking, then having friends, then finishing kindergarten, then the first year of study, then elementary school, then high school, then university. Everyone has their own ways, but this vision of humanity causes them to always live in the future instead of the present, wondering what they will do next at the end of this cycle. Me. Yes, it happens to me constantly. The what for, where to, what's next. I am. All that search arises from the impulse. The first stage is reactionary. That is, the first path is a quest to find food. The second is to fight to get it. The third is to survive. The fourth is to adapt to new environments. And the fifth is to multiply. And these 5 steps are repeated over and over again in the impulse and reaction system, until culture arises in the human species. At that instance, the impulse becomes a pulse, and the reaction becomes an action. The first step stops looking for food and begins to nurture the spirit and soul. The second step is no longer fighting and becomes integration. The third is no longer surviving and becomes the search for enlightenment. The fourth step is no longer adapting and becomes creativity. And the fifth frees us from the multiplication process to seek transcendence. Thus, the cultural being converts the needs into missions and the objectives into purposes. Now, an intelligent animal and human being in turn have 3 ways of seeing reality: from the subconscious, the unconscious, and the conscious. Thus, the purpose of the subconscious encompasses the need of an entire species. That of the unconscious encompasses the search for an entire group within the species, and the conscious contemplates the search for an individual within the group. This individual, in his walk, has in turn the ability to change the destiny of the other 2 groups, the unconscious and the subconscious. The individual no longer seeks the resolution of earthly missions or the fulfillment of global purposes, but immerses himself in the path of spirituality. Me. It seems complex. It's a lot. I am. It is. But you don't have to. It's a choice. And there is the path you ask me about. Me. In the election? I am. Exactly. As long as you are moved by the needs of your species or a group, your missions and purposes will be driven by reaction and momentum. But as long as you decide to stop and contemplate from consciousness, you have the ability to get out of this pendulum movement and become a creator, to be the one who pushes and moves in a new direction. Me. If I understood correctly then, everything we call mission and purpose of our paths are mere fractalities and echoes of a basic impulse that is positive and negative energy pulsing. And when we become conscious creators, we are able to create our own purpose and missions. I am. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Or are we going to make it more complex? What came first, God or the human? Me. According to my point of view, the first thing was the human, because it is the human who designed the idea of God. I am. Exactly. God does not exist, though. Me. It exists if I believe it. I am. So, you are part of the Creator, creating itself. In the same way that a child is born and does not know who he is until the environment and experience give him the tools to recognize himself and say, I, and pronounce his name and occupy a conscious space in life, and the universe sees itself doing exactly the same thing. He doesn't know that he is God until his brain cells develop and can look in the mirror and say, oh, I am God. Me. It is a strong concept, accepting that we are the eyes of God recognizing who he is. I am. The mirror is half irregular. That is why there are so many visions of God. He is still trying to recognize himself. And that is why those who look at themselves and realize that it is nothing real, but that it is oneself knowing oneself, recognizing who one is, must realize that now that they know it, they can create. There is no purpose, just as there is no God. But you, in your infinite creativity, can build a purpose and create an idea of God that guides you on your path. Until you are able to create your own path in your own image and likeness, you will see the world through the eyes of your ancestors, and you will walk the steps guided by their gazes. Me, like the hamster that spins on the same wheel over and over again. I am. The chakra of karma, the wheel of action, literally transcribed from Sanskrit. Although in this case, the action is nothing more than a reaction. The wheel turns at such a speed that we have no choice but to naturally accept what will come, over and over again, repeating and observing the same thing, life after life. Well, jumping off the wheel implies a risk. You can get hurt, enter a crisis. It's like that body that decides to exercise to lose weight, but doesn't stop eating flour daily. No matter how much you exercise each morning, if you eat 5 chocolate croissants at the end, you will never see the change. Me. I understand. It's not a matter of meeting goals. It's a matter of changing habits. I am. Building your own path is recognizing the paths that build you and resignifying them. But for this, you must release the emotional tension from your feet, the belief that this is my destiny, when it is not. Me. The strong words of there is no purpose, there is no destiny, God does not exist, leave us with a void from which the only viable option is to create God, design a destiny, and intend our purpose. I am. All the people who have asked you, how do I find my purpose? How do I discover my mission? Must first attend the funeral of their belief about it. Me. God is dead, as Nietzsche said, not alluding to the fact that he does not exist, but to the concept people have of him, or her. I am. To find your purpose, you must build it in actions and intentions, using the tools of your tree and resignifying them. Go to the funeral of your beliefs and expectations, and dare to be the creator of this path. The first thing to face is the emotion that nonsense produces in us. Me. When I was first told that there was no purpose, I felt like my world was falling apart. Everything I do is for a purpose, which was so clear to me that when I heard those words, I felt like I was dying. I felt an emptiness so great that it took me months to recover. I even thought about suicide, although it didn't make any sense either. Why anticipate something that would come anyway? At least in life I could have fun and change my reality. But that nonsense made me believe that nothing was worth it. It didn't matter what I did. I am. And there you realized what the phrase, nothing was worth it, means. For whom do you do what you do, or did you intend to do it? Me. For humanity. I am. Oh no, dear friend, you're not doing it for humanity. You do it for the recognition of humanity. Everything we seek to do for others is to obtain recognition for what we do. Because in a herd of mammals, being part of it is everything. Feeling useful makes the difference. The vision of our purposes are merely paternalistic, that is, with the unconscious and reactionary intention of making our father and mother proud. It is linear because if there is no one who tells you when you die, you have done well. Or if when you finish with the purpose you turn around and there is no one to say, thank you for what you have done. Or if when you speak with your higher self, as you are now doing with me, in the middle of a planetary task like yours, tells you that there is no plan, nor ever was. The question you will ask yourself is, would I have done it the same? Me. It's been a year since we had this same talk, and after months of internal struggle, you know that now I do what I do because I have chosen it, and not because someone has asked me to. I am. We have worked for about 23 years with this, and now you see that everything is working perfectly, because you no longer have expectations in your way, because now you are the creator of your own destiny. Me. Stop looking for the purpose and create your own. That is what is making me fulfill the purpose of my whole tree. I am. That is what builds the way, the path. So, go and wash your feet, but this time with full awareness that what you are doing is initiating yourself in the maximum recognition, your own. You are master of your destiny, step by step. Release the emotion that you put on your feet, looking to be led to fulfill a divine plan that was out of your power. Wash your feet and let them cry at the wake of your old self. And when you have shed the tears of your beliefs, begin to chart your path. Me. Only I am the one who designs and chooses the steps if I become aware. Otherwise, from unconsciousness, I will allow everyone else to guide me in their intentions. I am. Take power from your steps and build your new path. Me. I am the way, the path.